The year is 1972. Richmond are set to face off against Carlton in the grand final. By game's end, Richmond have put up an all-time performance with a record-breaking 150 points in the grand final, tying Essendon's score of 150 in 1946. Unfortunately for Richmond, they still lost. That's right, they tied an all-time record and lost, because Carlton beat them by 27 points, scoring 177 points in the game, which till this day is still the record in a grand final. In this video, we're covering 10 AFL facts that will blow your mind. These facts are not your ordinarily daily facts that you've heard before. These will rattle your brain. Here, I'll show you. Now, this fact sort of comes from the VFL, however, it might be the most mind-blowing fact on the entire list. In 2014, Footscray won the VFL Premiership and became back-to-back premiers. However, the premiership they won prior to 2014 occurred in 1924, 90 years earlier. So how did this happen? In 1924, Footscray won the premiership in the VFA, which was the second division of football back then. The year after, they got admitted to the VFL, footy's first division. This meant they ceased to exist in the VFA. A few changes occurred in between then. In 1991, the VFL became the AFL, and the VFA became the VFL. And in 1996, Footscray was rebranded as the Western Bulldogs. Later in 2014, the Footscray Bulldogs entered into football's second division, essentially re-entering the league after a 90-year absence. They won the flag in their first year back, which means that they had won back-to-back grand finals in the second division of footy 90 years apart. We all know Dustin Fletcher as the 400-gamer veteran that formerly played for Essendon. The man had the longest AFL career of any player, with a career spanning 22 years. In his first 2 years, he played with Tim Watson, named Essendon's 6th greatest player ever. 9 years later, Dustin Fletcher was playing alongside his son, Jobe Watson, who we all know as the 2012 Brownlow medalist. And it does not stop there. He played against the great Gary Ablett Sr. before he retired in 1996. 6 years later, he found himself playing against Gary Ablett Jr. The man played with and against 2 all-time father-son duos. Now, when you think of AFL rivalries, what do you think of? Hawthorn and Geelong? Carlton versus Collingwood? Maybe even the Showdown? But what if I told you that there was a rivalry that topped all of these? Between 2005 and 2007, Sydney and West Coast had the closest 6-game stretch of all time. I want you to guess the average margin of these 6 games. 15 points, 10 points, even just 5 points. Well, all of those answers are wrong. Try 2 points. In 6 games, Sydney and West Coast duelled it out better than any other rivalry. To top this all off, 4 of these games were finals, and 2 of them were, well, you know.
Cox throws it onto the left. One last roll of the dice for the Eagles! Leo Barry-Eustace! Bob Murray reincarnate. The longest premiership drought in football history is over! Can the Swans do it? Siren! Who would have thought the sequel would be just as good as the original?
And speaking of finals, have you ever wondered if a team could finish 9th and win a final in the same season? Carlton fans sure hope they would. And they did. In 2013, Carlton finished 9th on the ladder, just missing the finals. However, due to the Essendon drug saga, Essendon were disqualified from the finals, meaning Carlton moved up to 8th on the ladder. They played 5th placed Richmond in an elimination final, and despite being down by 26 points at half-time, Carlton charged back and won the game by 20 points. Luckily for Richmond, they have a feat that has never been done ever in a game. In round 4 of 2018, Richmond faced off against Brisbane at the MCG. Richmond played a pretty good game, beating Brisbane, by 93 points. But what is more impressive is that Dustin Martin kicked 6 goals straight, which not only beats Brisbane's score, but doubled it. An impressive feat in itself, but what I didn't tell you is that Jason Castagna also beat Brisbane by himself, and so did Jacob Townsend. In one game, 3 players individually outscored a whole team, and the list of mind-blowing facts just got bigger. A similar feat to this occurred just this year. In round 2, St Kilda travelled to Optus Stadium to play against Freo. Unfortunately for St Kilda, only 3 players kicked a goal, and they still won the game. Jack Higgins bagged 4, Max King also bagged 4, and Dan Butler had just the 1 goal, which was enough to beat Fremantle by 10 points. Now, the last 2 facts revolve around rare achievements in players' careers. We start with Ben Rutten. Most know him as a former Essendon coach. Others might remember him as the 229 game defender for Adelaide. But what most people might not know about him is that he only kicked 9 goals in his career. Fair enough, as he is a defender. However, what might blow your mind is that out of the 1,400 times he kicked a ball, his first, second, third, and last ever kicks in the AFL were all goals. Truly a 1 in a million achievement. And the last mind-blowing fact on this list is the fact that Brent Harvey, a player who has played over 430 games in his career, has the 7th most losses of any player all time. Not a feat that you'd want to have in your resume. But it's all okay for Brent Harvey, because he still has 40 more wins than losses. 7th most losses all time, but still a winner. That wraps up the list of AFL's most mind-blowing facts. I hope you guys enjoyed this style of video. The last video I made where I went in depth into a topic, I think 2 videos ago, got really good feedback. So if you want to see me do more of those videos where I go in depth into a topic, or more of these fact videos, make sure to like and comment what topics you want me to go into. Also subscribe, please. I'm trying to hit 500 subscribers by 2023, so if you please subscribe, it would mean the world to me. Subscribing is free, and you can always change your mind later. If everyone watching right now subscribed, we'd have like 1,000 subs or something, I don't know. So please subscribe, and thank you for watching the video.